Senator Santorum making the rounds today, and you have been such a hero to conservatives in terms of family issues. There's no one who has been more on the forefront and more outspoken, really. But there is sort of a divide here, especially at CPAC, but also just within the party. Some saying we should keep the social issues out of politics, some saying we should focus on the economics. Do you see them as inextricably linked, or what's your opinion there?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's show me a place where the family has disintegrated, where there are only single moms, and show me that neighborhood. Show me a neighborhood where there is no two-parent families that are safe, prosperous, free, and healthy. They don't exist. So the idea that we can have a strong economy without strong families, it's just a lie. If you look at one of the reasons you're seeing this stratification of wealth in this country is because you're seeing more and more children being born out of wedlock of lower and middle income people. And yet, if you're in the top 20% of income earners in this country, the marriage rate for those people hasn't changed in 30 years. So out of wedlock birth rate hasn't changed in 30 years. We know what leads to success. Graduate from high school, work a full-time job, and get married before you have children. You do those three things, you can do all the other economic policy you want. You do those three things, you're not going to be in poverty in America. You have a single-digit chance of ever being in poverty in your life if you do those three things. So the idea that you know, it's all about the economy, the Greek word for the root word of economy is oikos, which means home or family. So the root of the family, the root of the economy is the family. And so the idea that cultural policy and promoting marriage, I'm not talking about defining marriage. I'm talking about reclaiming marriage. I'm talking about promoting marriage is what we need to be doing.
I worked on your campaign, as you know, got to go on your bus and do some other fun things with you. Was really disappointed that you weren't ultimately our nominee. And I want to ask you, though, what you learned from that you're taking with you.
You know, I guess a few things. Number one is that while it's important to draw distinctions in the campaign, obviously between Republicans because you're running against other Republicans, it's also really important to paint a positive and hopeful vision for the country. And I think far too much here as Republicans, particularly now that things are so bad, it's easy just to talk about how bad things are and talk about how messed up the Democrats are and how terrible Barack Obama is. You know, I get it. It's fun. I mean, it's fun to do, but it's not solving the problems of people that are hurting, that are looking for somebody who cares about what they're going through and identifies with them and has ideas that can make their life better. And so I think we need to take our shots. Now, I'm not saying don't be negative. I mean, you gotta explain what the problems are and why we're in the situation we are and why their policies lead to it. But then you really have an obligation to lay out that hopeful future.
If we had a president, Rick Santorum, right now, what would be happening with Russia and the Ukraine?
Well, it's hard to say that now because 5 years ago I would have never said to the Czech Republic and Poland that we were pulling our missile defense system out. 5 years ago I wouldn't have abandoned the efforts for bringing in Central Europe into the Western European economies. It's important. I mean, America has to be engaged around the world. We can't let the world just sort of go to seed, if you will, because there are forces out there that are not in our interest that will weigh in. And whether it's in Central Europe, whether it's in South America, where we've seen just a continuing devolution of things down there and the impact from Venezuela to Ecuador to Nicaragua to Argentina. I mean, you can go on down the list. I mean, things are not better. And you say, well, who cares? Huh? Who cared about Ukraine? You know, who cared about Syria? Who cared? It matters, particularly if it's in our backyard, it matters. You care about our borders, you better care about what goes on south of our borders. So there's I would say you would see a much more engaged president in making sure that we're doing the things to promote the safety and stability of our country.
This is my last question. I have to be really quick because your people are signaling me that you have to go. But I always have to ask you, you and I share a heart issue, and that is our children with trisomy. Your daughter, Bella, with trisomy 18, mine with trisomy 21. Speak to the parents in America who face a pregnancy with a child like my Samuel or your Bella.
You know, I always just say that we feel like Bella has been the greatest gift to our family. And not that our other children aren't amazing gifts, but I think they'd all say the same thing. Bella changed our lives, and as much as any child can change your life. And is raising Bella hard? Oh yeah, it's hard. Is it stressful? Yes, it's stressful. Is it joyful? Overwhelmingly so. Is it worth it? Name something that's really, really, really amazing. That doesn't. You don't have to pay a price to get, right? And so yes, it's a struggle. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of sleepy nights, like one last night for me. But you know what? The joy is overwhelming, and the lessons that little kid can teach you is you just can't learn them anywhere else, and it makes you a better person.
Senator Santorum, thank you so much for taking the time.